It was the kind of morning that could fool you into believing the world was perfect sunlight streaming through the towering glass walls of the Rosemont Grand Hotel, scattering gold across polished marble floors, so clean they reflected the crystal chandeliers hanging above like frozen drops of light. The air carried the delicate perfume of lilies imported fresh from Holland every morning, blending with the warm aroma of dark roast coffee from the cafe in the corner, where silver spoons clinked against porcelain cups. A pianist in the lounge played something soft and old, his music weaving through the quiet hum of conversation, the occasional roll of suitcase wheels, the muted click of heels against stone. Guests drifted in and out, people whose clothes spoke before they did. Tailored suits, silk scarves, jewelry that caught the light like it was trying to own it. For them, the Rosemont Grand was a pause between destinations, a place to rest in opulence. For Naomi Carter, it was work, the same routine she had followed for nearly 5 years. Her uniform was immaculate. A crisp white blouse tucked neatly into a black skirt, apron tied around her waist, her dark hair pulled into a tight bun. She pushed her housekeeping cart across the lobby, its wheels squeaking softly, her mind already organizing the list of rooms to be cleaned. She had been up since 4:45, ironing the blouse until every crease disappeared, making herself toast she barely tasted, and walking 10 blocks through the cool, early air from her small apartment. Naomi knew her place here. She had learned the art of being invisible in a building full of people who never really looked at her. Guests saw a maid, nothing more. They didn't ask her name. They didn't notice the way her eyes caught small details, the way her mind quietly cataloged everything. They didn't know she spoke 4 languages. She had learned long ago that people's eyes tended to skip over the help, until the help did something unexpected. That morning, the unexpected came in the form of a ringing phone at the front desk. The sound cut sharply through the music and the murmur of voices. The receptionist, a young man in a tailored vest, was trapped in a conversation with a middle-aged couple who were upset their room didn't have the exact river view promised in the brochure. The phone rang again and again. Naomi hesitated, glancing around. No one else was nearby. She stepped forward, picked up the receiver, and spoke without thinking. "Good morgen, Rosemont Grand Hotel. Who kan ik you helpen?" Her voice was calm, warm, the Dutch rolling off her tongue with the natural rhythm of someone who had lived it, not just studied it. On the other end, there was a pause, then a rush of words, the caller relieved to have found someone who understood him. He was an older man, visiting from Utrecht, trying to find his way to a small art gallery on the far side of the city. Naomi guided him with precision, telling him which tram to take, where to get off, and which cobblestone street to follow. She even added a personal tip about a tiny cafe tucked behind the gallery, a place that served apple tart so good it had reminded her of her student days in Rotterdam. For a moment she was back there, walking along the Maas River at dusk, the air smelling faintly of rain and coffee, her notebooks filled with language study, her dreams bigger than the skyline. She didn't even notice anyone watching as she hung up the phone and went back to her cart. But in the far corner of the lobby, seated in a deep leather armchair, Victor Langford had been watching the entire time. He was a man whose presence filled a room without effort. His silver hair was combed neatly back, his navy suit tailored so precisely it seemed an extension of him. The staff knew his name, even if they'd never spoken to him. Billionaire investor, real estate mogul, a man who owned luxury hotels on 3 continents. He had come to the Rosemont Grand for a business meeting, but his sharp blue eyes had followed Naomi from the moment she answered that phone. "Excuse me?" he called, his voice deep, commanding, carrying easily through the space. Naomi froze. Guests rarely addressed her directly unless they needed something replaced. She turned slowly. "Yes, sir? You speak Dutch?" His gaze was steady, curious. "Yes, sir," she said cautiously. I lived in the Netherlands for a while. Come here, he said, not unkindly, but with a tone that expected compliance. Naomi walked over, feeling the weight of a few glances from other staff members. Where did you learn? He asked. I studied linguistics in Rotterdam, she replied, before I moved back here. Linguistics? He tilted his head. So what are you doing cleaning hotel rooms? The question was blunt, and though there was no malice in his voice, it carried the sting of truth. She hesitated, then answered, Life took some turns. I needed steady work. He studied her like a puzzle he intended to solve. Why did you leave the Netherlands? She took a slow breath. My mother became ill. I came home to take care of her. After she passed, I couldn't afford to go back. This job was what I could find. Victor's eyes flickered with something, not pity, but recognition. You know, he said quietly, when you answered that phone, I saw two people nearby exchange a look, not a good one. The kind that says, how does someone like her know that language? Naomi's lips pressed together. I'm used to that look, she said. And how does it make you feel? Like proving them wrong, she said simply. His mouth curved into the faintest smile. Good answer. At that moment, a tall man in a pinstriped suit strode up, Victor's associate. Victor, we need to leave. The driver's waiting. Victor waved him off. In a minute, he turned back to Naomi. I have an office downtown. Come see me tomorrow at 10. Tell the receptionist your name, she'll let you in. Naomi blinked. Why? Because I think you're in the wrong job, he said, standing, and I might have the right one. That night, Naomi lay awake in her small apartment, staring at the ceiling. She thought about the life she'd left behind, the narrow streets of Rotterdam, the taste of strong coffee after late-night study sessions, the sound of Dutch chatter in busy cafes. She thought about the look on Victor's face, the certainty in his voice. She didn't know if this was real or just a fleeting kindness, but she knew she had to find out. The next morning, she dressed in her best, a navy skirt, white blouse, and shoes polished until they shone. She took the bus to the towering glass building that bore the Langford name. Inside, the receptionist smiled warmly when she gave her name and directed her to the top floor. Victor was waiting in an office that looked out over the city skyline, sunlight glinting off the buildings. On the desk in front of him was a folder with her name typed neatly on the front. Naomi, he began. I'm starting an international hospitality division, hotels and cultural hubs across the world. I need someone who understands language, culture, and people. I can teach business. I can't teach what you already have, experience, empathy, perspective. She sat in stunned silence as he continued, outlining a position as interpreter, cultural liaison, and training coordinator for staff in their European properties. It meant travel, a real salary, and a chance to use the skills she had buried under years of invisible work. Why me? She asked finally. Victor's eyes met hers. Because when the world expected you to stay silent, you spoke. And you spoke in a way that told me you see the world differently. That's the kind of person I want on my team. For the first time in years, Naomi felt seen, not as the uniform she wore, but as the person she was. And as she left that building with the job offer in her hands, she knew she would never again let anyone decide her place in the world for her.